prioritizing position, realizing we can get a loadout, we can get Storm Surge elsewhere. Visuals, Braids, and a Minish. Business as usual for them. They land over towards Foxy. I think as soon as they realized its own was pulling in their favor, they immediately start to set up their own Surge base. And this is kind of a little bit of different kind of pacing of the game that we're seeing in game number 3 here. Instead of the all-out aggression, it looks like they're kind of playing more to what a lot of teams have practiced, which is Storm Surge bases.
Yeah, but Cooper finding that first knock just gave the green light for Curly, Ree, and himself to actually find those additional eliminations. That's some big surge that they are getting online super early. And a handful of teams that have managed to have some success with these surge bases. But we have seen so many interventions, so many other teams, and that's something that Chad, Reason, and Mr. Savage don't take lightly. They're gonna spend a little bit of extended time inside of these early storm picks. They don't mind it, and it's giving them a good idea of which direction they actually want to head, especially when you're scouting out some of those surge bases in the distance. They know there's going to be teams looking to try and hold on edge of zone.
Yeah, and then kind of add in the fact that neither one of these 2 games that we've had so far has went down to heal off. So it's kind of giving you more and more of that confidence, like, hey, I can stay a little bit longer in towards zone. I can try to figure out Storm Surge, especially if you're uncontested like they are. You can always go back for those extra heals. As OXR HQ, just as busy as we last left it. Pixie, Marius, and Vanya. They kind of got a huge base, basically a 3-room apartment. Everybody gets their own bathroom. They're just kind of replenishing a lot of those bills that they used to get there. You see the extra hills in and outside of their base, and they're just a hop, skip, and a throw away from the actual zone. The only thing that we do not know yet, Taco, is do they see Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold? Do they know that team is there?
They're likely pretty aware that there's somebody lurking. Whether they know that it's Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual directly, that'll have to be answered later on. But Victor V, Epic Whale, Paper, they diverted that initial path, and they find themselves directly underneath Curly and Cooper, trying to see if they can apply some pressure, get a little bit of damage going. But Victor V gonna get the worst end of that trade out, and Epic Whale still looking to provide a little bit of coverage. They've just infiltrated the base that Cooper and Curly once held.
Yeah, I like the decision, though, for Cooper, Curly. They saw the zone kind of pull towards the south, a little bit further from where they're at. They say, hey, we got to focus on this. Agers, Acorn, Pollo, this time around, they play their side of the overall map. We're seeing it pulling towards the south, but Demon's Debris kind of just on the outskirts inside of the zone. So they're watching and seeing every team that rotates on over from that mountain. You got to think Alex and Nam resigned there towards the south of that mountain. Koyota, Rise, Yuma, they landed over at Canyon. So they're just trying to take advantage of every team that might not be quick to the punch.
But it's still crazy to see that quick stat for Acorn's team, that they didn't take a single tick of surge all throughout the regular season majors. But here on the global level, they have been struggling back-to-back matches, finding a good grasp of that surge damage threshold. Right now, game 3 though, halfway point technically speaking for day 1. They had the opportunity. We just saw what Prodoxy, Pablo, and Chino were able to accomplish in that last lobby. When you're able to secure over 80 points in a singular match, you're still always in the running.
Yeah, on pace. Outside of maybe getting that victory royale where you do get the 9 extra points going from second to first place. So all you need, a win, but 10 eliminations, that's about a 105 game. Close the gap in an instant. We already saw that out of a few teams so far. Pixie, Marius, and Vanya, they're just rotating all around. You saw them go from OXR HQ. They took that massive launch pad with the Flowberry Fizz to take over the Shining Span Bridge, prioritizing their rotation. Not really worrying about anybody else that's there, as Victor V, Epic, they're still here, but Cold is the one that's down. So Peterbot and Ritual got the pressure on their shoulders.
Tragedy there for Pablo as he's fully cleaned up too. So that's gonna be a wipeout for Prodoxy's team. They'll have to sit and deliberate, figure out what they want to do for game 4 instead. But Ritual and Peterbot still trying to work side by side. The problem is they are so split from each other, Jacob. The moment that Yamzo, Clix, or Higgs might realize, hey, there's a primed up opportunity here to just outright key, but it doesn't seem as if they're aware of that situation just yet.
And already we saw Cooper, Reek, and Curly try to rotate on out. But now they're running into a whole nother team, and Cooper's going to be the first one dropped. That's Snowy. Saad is still alive. Even though they do lose one, they have a numbers advantage. They can play for the revive, and I think Reet might know that just a little bit, trying to go for pressure underneath, break it through the wall. The piece control does not go over. They do a quick peek. Both teams kind of missing those shots, though. Reet has to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. They are inside of the zone, so in theory, Taco, Ryu, Snowy, and Saad have no reason to rotate out.
That little bit of a whiff, though, from Reet might come back to haunt him here because Saad, Snowy, and Ryu in that 3 versus 1. This is so optimal for them to continue to apply steady pressure. They recognize Reet has no other choice except to try and live, to try and escape, and they are just ripping him apart from the skies. Every single crash pad, sure, it's taken them one step further, but fortunately for Reet, Marius, Pixie, and Vanya provide a little bit of that buffer zone. They're gonna force Saad and Ryu back, but Reet, he is still pinned down, stuck along the beach face underneath Shining Span.
Yeah, it's almost you wonder, like, does he even have a singular reboot card, let alone 2? He really had no choice but to disengage out of there because they will try to push Ace solo in that situation. But Malibuca walks, pings, 25 points through 2 games so far. Couple teams need to go down, about 7. He can start getting some of those placement points. But for now, they're just kind of focusing on one thing and one thing only, Storm Surge. That's going to open up the world in terms of flexibility the later this game goes on.
And this time, Malibuca's team not being third-partied now means that they've got a little bit more of that luxury room to try and get their Surge locked in, going up against Yapko and Panzer in a separate Surge base. Good ways across from them. Yuma, Koyota, and Grise, though, we saw the success they finally had with taking care of Veno's team, and now the question becomes, can we see a Ferdoxy Tayson type of performance? Can they convert this to a strong endgame finish?
Hey, you know the entire region usually kind of has some tricks underneath their sleeve that they save for big moments just like this. Swizzy, Queasy, Merstad, they're just making their way on over towards that bunker. They're one of the few teams in the lobby because they're uncontested at the Hive. They get that instant OXRHQ rank, and that is what they're able to use to kind of rotate on over to the vault and get some sort of exotic. You already see it's going to be the AR in Swizzy's inventory. And if you guys don't know, every shot you land with that AR, the next one just deals more and more damage. And putting it in Swizzy's hand, honestly, is very, very scary for the rest of the lobby.
And looted and booted, that is for sure. Merstash, Swizzy, Queasy, they've got so much time to work with in comparison to a lot of these other teams that are likely feeling a bit more pressured, a bit more pushed into trying to create, manifest some sort of surge damage just to be able to find the same type of rotates. But Queasy, we'll have to see what he gets up to later on because we know they love to look for height and they are setting up very early on, Jacob, strong loadouts to take over.
A tough situation, depending on where the zone continues to go for a lot of these teams towards the south. They're trying to make this part of the map their home base and kind of wait for a lot of the teams towards the north, towards the west to start to try and rotate in. Kanata, Bolts, and Rapid, almost 700 damage above the threshold. Now they're going to surpass that with a couple shots being landed. And they're just peeking through the cone right now. They already are in zone. They're just trying to figure out how many teams are around them, what teams are there as well, and what teams are rotating in. Ritual, Cold, Peterbot, that's going to be one that they focus on for a quick and short moment, landing some damage on the Ritual, forcing them down further towards their glide, just kind of making sure they can't get priority position.
The real trick in a set lobby like this, though, is finding those shots, but not receiving any in return. Peterbot, Ritual, Cold, though, they've got to take this fight up against Tate and Raito. They need a recovery point. They've managed to bring Cold back off the reboot, but this is a fight that they're going to have to optimally turn into their favor. It's a little bit scattered right now, but they're just so low on that surge. They don't have any other options. They have to keep trying to apply pressure, but they might not get the chance. The surge is going to take care of them alongside Raito. Just an easy come up.
I am at a loss for words. After 3 games so far, they have failed to place inside of the top 17. That's where those placement points begin. They are in 31st place on the leaderboard, and it can only get worse if any of those two teams below them are still alive. But from the bottom side to the top side, Swizzy, Queasy, and Merstache. That's going to be one thing, because they see every single player that goes down. They see every single trio that gets eliminated. And when you see them go down for Queasy, Swizzy, and Merstache, even Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs, that's got to be a confidence boost.
Everybody just looking like a rags to riches comparison from what we just witnessed. But Yamzo, Clix, Hibbs, they're still trying to take advantage of their convenient positioning here. They're spraying all of these teams that are just stuck on the congestion inside that edge of zone. Teams that are fighting to try and lock in a little bit more surge. And Phaser, he is going to fall. Yamzo, a little bit too accurate, and Clix just still continuing steady pressure application. These teams are not able to escape.
Yeah, I think they saw it at the corner of the eye. Another knock going down. A whole nother team, but they know if they can continue to focus in that direction, they can probably try to get the wipe. But on high ground, we're finally getting that peak. Poyo, Agers, and Acorn, but they're 69 damage below the threshold, which is surprising because we're at the Kappa factory towards the south side of the map. They have been granted the zone majority of this game, but just unable to really find the shots to put it to use, and they're falling further and further below.
They've got to be real careful. Team sitting inside the building, and Agers just doesn't care. Mountain gonna be immediately eliminated. Just a max pop shot. Poyo now looking to follow suit here. They are feeling so confident. They know they got Goofy locked in their sights, and Agers finds the next elimination. There's their surge at last.
Locked and loaded, ready to go. And this is a team right here, right? When you got Poyo on this team, when you got Agers on this team, Acorn, debatably one of the best IGLs in Fortnite, them going down early, that's like poking the bear. That's like poking the bear in the wilderness. And that's something I would never do. And now they're here in this game, and they're out for redemption.
The problem right now that I'm thinking about, Jacob, is Queasy loves to look for height right around this period, right around that 8th zone time frame. But with Acorn now looking much healthier and a mastermind IGL in his own right, you have to anticipate that there's going to be a very strong challenge for height between those two teams. And that's not even considering other trios in the lobby like Vanya, Marius, Pixie, all of these experienced veterans that know full well what type of potential high ground holds, especially with the zones falling over this part of the map. It is a very strong pinpoint location. So many teams are going to have to burn through materials in those lower layers.
Yeah, and you can kind of see in the minimap, majority of the teams, even with the zone currently opening up, are like on that 50 where the half and half actually was. And even further south, nobody really wanted to make that move because you know as well as I do, inadvertently with the crash pads, Flowberry Fizz, it just makes you an open target. A Savage Chat reads, and they're getting a little bit more aggressive, trying to take advantage of Miram, Huyu Ryu. They're underneath as well. I think Wixie might still be alive. Nope, saw it in the feed. Queasy's gonna take him down, so Savage Chat reason, even with 2 eliminations, almost 900 damage above the threshold. They're feeling good.
Agers, Poyo, Acorn, though, depending on which direction they head next. I was going to say they might need to be wary of Mr. Savage's team, but instead it's going to be secondary height as the focal point. They're just getting sprayed out, though. Their builds not being allowed to fully lock through. Yuma, Grise across the way, but no! We thought those 2 eliminations that Agers just secured would be enough, but the surge threshold, they just climbed to such a high level, Jacob. They're still sitting 99 below, even with 3 eliminations. Finally, they're going to tick over into just 3 above, but it's still not enough. They can't find a footing until they get more surge.
They are just burning through materials. Even with that elimination on the Rise, they are not going to be able to get a lot of that loot. It's going to go to the wayside, and now they have to worry about their rotation, feeding them the punch. Art Skull and Sauko, they might be below the damage threshold, but Poyo, Agers, Acorn focusing on this rotation because they know it's not going to get easier. In fact, only 7 builds onto Agers. It's going to get harder and harder unless they find that key refresh.
But look at Arc School and Sauko. They're a little bit beat up here. Still, Mr. Savage, Chap, Frieza, and they're immediately trying to cut straight to the front side of zone. Might have been a little bit too ambitious here, though. The lobby has taken notice. Chap, no shield, no time to recover it just yet either. Mr. Savage doesn't have any white heals to his name. They've got to just fight it out with teams directly behind them. But Chap finally getting the opportunity. He's trying to see if he can replenish just enough to really frag out here for his team. Saw it, Snowy, Ryu, though, doing a great job holding him. And Poyo stuck in the same boot.
It's Not good for Braids and Visuals. They're going to get eliminated, but Poyo is going to get dropped. Agers still taking a lot of damage. They're trying to use the crash pad to get out, but just stuck in zone. They go down, and it's Queasy, it's Swizzy, and it's Merstache yet again. Not only the Kings on top of the castle, but the ones lighting up the feed. Down below, a whole different ball game. Iamzo, Clix, and Higgs, they are in the mud right now, having to figure out where they're going to go because Zone is slightly moving up over that mountain. They realize no other team is in their path. It's now or never.
But the problem is they've got Swizzy, Queasy, and Merstache on height, beaming everybody underneath them. These guys are applying so much steady and consistent pressure that nobody's having a chance to look up just yet. They've spotted out a team tunneling through. It's Malibuca and Wox trying to see if they can break through from that secondary height position, but with Queasy now overtaking the front side, overtaking front side height. Now everybody else stuck underneath. This is everything for Queasy, Merstache, and Swizzy.
And just in the back pocket, you see 6 splashes, the exotic Slapberry Fizz, which heals HP, a just in case, but up goes Pixie. They're trying to go for that opportunity, but Mario says, no, 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 we need to disengage. We cannot go for it, at least not right now, but he's taking so much damage on his way down. But Swizzy distracted for a short moment. A lot of his shields go out the window. Luckily for him, his entire trio is still there. 2,000 damage above the threshold. They won last game with 12 eliminations, and they're well on their way to do it again.
And that's the problem for everybody else in this lobby is that Queasy, he is just tarping fully unleashed. Nobody there to stop his pad. 2 of them, the best fraggers in the world by his side. And Kanata, he is down and out for the count. Bolts, Rapid, trying to see if they can secure a strong, at least break into that top 5 placement maybe. But Iamzo, Higgs, also a little bit scattered here. Iamzo's gonna fall. It's Higgs who's trying to come up big time here. Big elimination though for Higgs. Gonna buy him a little bit of a lifeline. He's doing everything he can to try and play through this backside of zone. The Siphon's still carrying him just a bit further. But Marius, Vanya, Pixie, they're looking to layer swap. They know they don't have enough, and Marius taking out the moment that he tries to chop through.
He just gets stuck. That 1 second cost him what could be an opportunity here. Pixie's just trying to make it to the front side of the zone. He's just getting cut down every step of the way, but finally reuniting with Vanya. This is their moment. They have to figure out a way to make this count. They're missing a huge chunk of HP. They're using what they can out of the med mist, but there's still a whole team on high ground and another team lurking underneath. That's Chap, Savage, and Reason. They're making every single one of these uncontested games count as Vanya's making a play, challenging for the high ground. He has it for now, but how long can he hold on to it?
Vanya doesn't even care that it's just a 2 versus 3. He still tries to take that challenge, but Swizzy immediately, not against my IGL. I've got the backup here. Swizzy taking him out. Vanya, sorry that it's a fellow gentleman, but it's just business, not personal. Cammy also eliminated for Stash. Now trying to see if he can take out Chap along the way, but Savage, Mr. Savage still making it work.
This is it. It's basically all EU here in the end game. Chap down below, trying to make a play. He's gonna get cut short. Reason as well. It's all to Savage, but no, the entire trio ends up back in the lobby. Swizzy has finally come down. He's ready to steal this game away. They have 12 eliminations, already matching their last game win.
Don't count out Pix, Darman, Demons though. These guys love winning through the low ground. We've seen them do it time and time again. And Queasy with no materials. Pix also no materials. I drop lurking directly behind the team on low ground though. And Merstache, Swizzy, they're starting to drop. They're trying to see if they can close this one out. Queasy finds a knock. Demons is out. Queasy going for the back-to-back. It is all Queasy, Merstache, and Swizzy for a Game 3 victory royale.
It's only taken 3 games to get our first team with not only multiple victory royales, but the back-to-back 12 eliminations in that last game. More than that in this game. We are looking what could possibly be a great team in the making. Frankie, don't you agree?
I really do agree. The fans in Leon again going absolutely wild for this team. Queasy coming into the Global Championships. They said that this competition was going to be owned by North America, but right now it's being owned by the High Ground Kings. How was that game? Just a complete repeat of the second.
I mean, we're just playing our game, that's it. Just playing end game, playing height, and that's it. Nothing more.
But why isn't anyone able to challenge you for that height right now? We've got huge names. In fact, in that last game, all of our top 5 trios made here.
then